Okay, so I am Alicia Kiremire, and I have been in grant writing for a little over 15 years now. Different parts of it, the writing, the management, evaluation, and then recently started training through the Complete Grant System. And so what I'm talking about today is offering grant writing to grow your business as an independent consultant. And I want to hit on a few expectations for evaluators specifically before I dive in. First of all, grant writing is a really good stepping stone. And so if you're someone who has been an evaluator for a while, but you're just starting out as a business owner and you're just trying to get off the ground and get that first client or grow into a new area with new clients, grant writing might be a good fit for you. The pay for a grant writer as a consultant is somewhere between $80 and $120 per hour. So I realize that's lower than a lot of evaluation consultants can charge. And so once you get it off the ground and you get your evaluation business really rolling, you might step back some on grant writing and maybe get some staff to help you, or just leave it for the next person, the next generation. But at the same time, it can really build a reputation as a business, and it can build your customer base. And so you might find that if there's a new customer who really needs a grant writer and you're good at it and you can do it, then you build trust with them and they will want to either keep you as an evaluator in the future or even on that grant that you help them put together. So I've identified 4 phases in grant writing as a consultant, and there's a lot more detail in my handout, but I'm just going to hit the high points for each phase. The first phase is marketing. So this is where you're thinking about which skills do you have that are transferable from evaluation to grant writing. You are brainstorming your customers, who might they be? And then you're establishing your own expectations around the grant writing process so that you'll be able to share those expectations with your customer. Because a lot of them, they don't know what to expect either. So you are the expert in all ways. The second phase is negotiating a contract. And so you'll be thinking about what type of contract that will be. Is it hourly? Is it fixed price? I prefer fixed price usually, and I find that clients do as well, just to keep less risk on their end for you overcharging hours. And then also you can negotiate your scope. And so just because you offer grant writing doesn't mean that you have to do everything on a proposal from start to finish. You can really think about what your interests are, what your expertise is, and then also what the client's budget is. And so if they can't pay you to do everything, then you guys can really talk about what is most valuable that you're offering and narrow down to that scope. The third phase is planning before writing. And this is a lot of project management involved. And so I'm glad that some of the other sessions deal with project management, because I see a grant proposal as a project in itself. And so you want to schedule out the proposal period, what's happening when, what builds on what, and then think about your communication and plan that. So who all do you need to be communicating with? Do you have your own team? You have clients? There's maybe external partners on the grant. How is everybody communicating, and when and how often? And then your client might ask for help to actually find a grant. So some clients already know the grant they want to pursue. They just need you to help get it together. And some really don't know where to start, and they need help finding the perfect grant for what they are trying to do. And a lot of times that you're helping them find a grant might happen before you have a contract with them. And so you're not necessarily getting paid for that, but just remember that when you build your rate, your pay rate for later. And then finally, the final phase, coordination during writing. And so you do want to track your progress. So in the last phase, you built a schedule. So you want to track, are you sticking with that schedule? Are you getting behind, and what tweaks you need to make? As far as writing goes, I love to start with an outline. That really helps to coordinate expectations between me and the client up front. And so I'll first write an outline of what I think it should be in the proposal and the order of everything, and then run it by them and see, is that what they're thinking? And so if there are any major changes, they can happen really upfront and not when I'm trying to write the long proposal version. You will manage edits along the way. And then one step I never want to leave out is to celebrate once the grant is submitted, because you're probably working on this thing for a few months with your client. It's a lot of work on your end and on theirs. And so when it's submitted, it's really something to celebrate, whether it gets funded that first time or not. It's great to celebrate just submitting it. And then I wanted to share the tools that I've found are my favorite with grant writing specifically. Google Drive I use a lot to keep all the grant documents in one place. So you'll have the proposal narrative, the budget, maybe people's resumes, a schedule possibly. So you have just so many documents, and Google Drive is great to keep it all in one place, especially if different people are working on different things. Google Docs is really great to communicate drafts with your client instead of emailing a file and then they're writing comments and emailing it back, and then you email the next draft. It's so much easier just to have one document online where it's live, everyone knows what the latest is, and then you can comment directly there. Your client can comment to you, you can reply back, and I've found it to just be a great way to communicate. The next thing is Google Sheets. So basically Excel I use for budgets and for organizing myself on attachments. And so usually I'll have a file that is a spreadsheet and it has a list of all the attachments that are required for this grant. It has a column that shows who's working on each attachment, and then a column that shows where we stand or maybe any needs that we have. The next tool that I use is Asana. I love Asana for not just grant writing, but all the projects that I work on and even my personal life. Just task management, you can set deadlines, you can organize and plan your day, your week, your month, your year. So all the way from daily planning to strategic planning, I use Asana. Zoom we're using today, so we all know how to use Zoom. I will say that grant writing can be done remotely. In fact, that's one of the benefits of it. I live in a very small rural area, and so I don't have a ton of clients right where I live, but it's great to be able to use Zoom to meet people and talk through projects and see people's faces. And then finally, Toggle Track. I heard about through the ICTIG, so thank you guys for that. But I used to track my time on different projects. Very easy, it's free. And I think I mentioned I don't bill by the hour anymore much, but I still like to track what I spend on different projects so that I'll know later. You can look at reports and see, okay, what did I spend my time on the last month or the last year? And then you can compare that with what that contract was with each client and how much did I get paid versus how much time did I spend. So I love Toggle Track for that. Okay, so that's the end of my content. I would love to hear y'all's experiences. Have you written grants before? Any questions that you have or comments that you would add to what I have shared?
Hi, Alicia. Thank you very much for this great presentation. I just had a quick, kind of a funny question. I don't know if you can answer it, but actually I have written a lot of grants and I'm trying to get into evaluation. So yeah. I'm trying to go the opposite direction.
Yes.
I'm in academia and I'm trying to move out of that and into more evaluation. So I don't know if that's outside your wheelhouse.
No, that's what I did too. So I love that.
Oh, really?
Yes. So I think, so in my handout, the first thing I listed were the skills that I think are transferable from evaluation to grant writing. And I think it goes the other way too. So you can look at those skills. I've been in grants for a long, long time, and I got into evaluation because I was on grant project teams that had evaluators, external evaluators. And so for years, I saw what they did and kind of started to think, I think I could do that. That looks really fun. And it would be neat. I care so much about grant funding and accountability, and, especially with taxpayer dollars, are they making the impact they wanted to make? And then I think what really pushed me to actually do it was one of my clients told me, hey, I think you'd be a really good evaluator. Have you ever considered that? So it's worked out great for me. It's opened more doors, more opportunities. And so I encourage.
Thank you.
Yeah, good question. Any other thoughts or questions?
I just wanted to share that I do some grant writing, and I can't believe how helpful it is to support my own business. Even just knowing, if you know how to write the whole grant, you know how to write that evaluation section, and you know how to tie it to the rest of the grant well as well. So it can be like, just even if you don't take on grant writing per se, learning to do it and being good at it can be really important.
That's such a great point. Yes, I've heard people, evaluators, not complain, but I guess just be concerned that they're only supposed to be writing the evaluation plan, but they're waiting on their client to send them the rest of the proposal, the goals and the activities, so that they can write the evaluation plan. And then if that never comes, or it comes very late, then you're kind of stuck. And so sometimes it's just nice to do the whole thing.